PostGame Show about to strike. Fans are roaring, feel the cheer. Queens of York, the atmosphere. Hype the crowd that never tame. Mets PostGame Show brings the flame.
What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the Mets Post-Game Show right here on the channel and on X. And the Mets took a series, ladies and gentlemen. Met fans, embrace it. Felt like we haven't won a series in like 6 months, but we finally did against a pretty red-hot Seattle Mariners team and a very potent offense that has been coming in here scoring runs, and the Mets took 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners and won 2 in a row. And the offense, once again, did their jobs, right? They were relentless. They got them RBIs. They got the runners in scoring position going down. And what about Swaggy V? Mark Vientos with a 3-run homer, 4 RBIs on the mount on the night, 2 for 3. Good performance. Nice to see him with some power. And the opposite field, Mets fans, the opposite field. That is where Mark Vientos needs to live. The power was center field to right field. And that is where Mark Vientos is at his best. And that was nice to see him take that ball on the outside corner that he's been struggling with and just take it the other way. Stop pulling off on that ball, because a lot of times he would pull off, either swing through it or just ground it to the left side. And he just finally went the other way, used that beautiful power that he has. And it was nice to see. To be honest, it's probably the best game of the year. 4 RBIs, 2 for 3. Just an all-around good performance by Mark Vientos. Francisco Lindor with another really good night offensively. 1 RBI, 3 for 5. And yeah, he made that it wasn't an error, but he missed the ball. That was like a floater that kind of like looked like it was like moved in different directions, but he should have caught that. But other than that, it was an overall good performance. You got 2 for 5 from Jeff McNeil. You got Alvarez, who we'll talk about in just a second, got an RBI. Brett Beatty got an RBI today. Mullins went 1 for 4. Looked pretty good today as well. A couple of walks. And Francisco Alvarez, right, trying to beat out the throw to second base when he was trying to get that double and jammed his thumb on his right hand. He was taken out of the game. Again, we're not sure. We know he was taken out of the game the next half inning. So x-rays are coming, probably an MRI. Hopefully it's not that bad. Hopefully it's just he just jammed it, and it's kind of, when you jam your finger, your hand, it hurts, and it feels like it's the worst pain in the world. But hopefully it's just that, just a jammed finger. And, give him off. He's off tomorrow, right? We have an off day. So hopefully he can recover after that and he gets back in it, because, again, he's been hitting really well for the New York Mets since he's come back from the minor leagues. And we got to keep on going here because, again, next man up. Luis Torrens is the backup, right? He's a solid backup. Not offensively, but you're going to be okay defensively. And listen, when you got Lindor hitting, when you got Alonso hitting, when you got Soto doing what he's doing, you got McNeil doing what he's doing. If Mark Vientos can hit like the way he hit today, you got him in the lineup. Brett Beatty's been doing his thing. So you got guys now that are hitting. You don't have to rely on Luis Torrens offensively. So that is what we're looking at when we're talking about the New York Mets and what they've done over the last week of games. They've been scoring runs. They're averaging just over 5.5 runs per game, which is that sweet spot number, in my opinion, that has really helped this team figure things out a little bit. Even though they've been losing, right? It hasn't been the offense. It's been the pitching. And again, Clay Holmes was pretty decent, pretty good today. Not great, but pretty good, right? 5 innings. That's the sweet spot for a lot of the Mets pitchers now. 5 innings or better. Like, if you can get through 5 innings, it gives yourself a chance. You saw again today with Carlos Mendoza, what he can do, right? He planned it out well, right? He knew he didn't have Diaz, right? Ryan Helsley had a good, solid inning. coming in the 8th inning. Nice to see. You see Reed Garrett do his job. Nice to see. And Tyler Rogers closed it out in the 9th inning. Good to see from this Mets pitching. They've been a little bit better. You got 2 quality starts, good starts in a row. And again, you see how much of a difference it makes, and you don't have to pitch 7 or 8 innings. You don't. Look, we all would love that, but it's not necessary. It's not the end of the world. If you give 5+ innings, right? Like I said, touch that mound in the 6th inning. Now, Clay Holmes didn't do that, but he's a 5-inning pitcher. We all know that. It would be nice to get him to the 6th inning, but that's wishful thinking at that point. He is a 5-inning pitcher. His job is to make sure that he leaves with a lead, or when he has a lead, keep that lead and give me 5 innings. That's what I'm expecting from Clay Holmes. That I'm not asking for more. I'm really not at this point, right? I like the 6 innings, but I'm not going to go crazy. For pitchers like Kodai Senga, pitchers like David Peterson, guys like that, I need them to go 6 innings. Kodai Senga, with the extra day rest that he always gets, I need him to go 6 innings. At least touch the mound in the 6th inning, in my opinion. Just touch the mound. Give me an opportunity to get an out or 2 in the 6th inning, even if you come out of the game. It is amazing what a quality start does for your manager to plan out his bullpen and his lanes for his arms in the bullpen. That is huge for this Mets team. We have good arms. We got the names in the bullpen. They just got to do their jobs. And again, we got the lead. We held the lead. 2 days in a row, we got the lead. And we held the lead. And it's been, again, we've had so many leads over the last week and a half of games, and we couldn't hold them. Now, the last 2, we held them, right? Yesterday, we won a low-scoring game, 3-1. Today, we were up 7-1. We didn't have to give up a huge lead, right? You had a little bit of wiggle room, right? You got to throw strikes, right? You don't want to walk people, so you're going to throw pitch. You're going to throw some, meatballs up there when you don't have a lot of men on, and Kyle Raleigh took it deep, right? But it was a 7-1 lead, right? The 2-run homer gets you closer, but you still got a comfortable lead. The Mets pitchers were throwing strikes. The bullpen guys were throwing strikes. And that's important, especially when you have a lead like this. How did the Mets get in trouble throughout this whole bad stretch of games? What were they doing wrong? They had a 6-0 lead. They had a 4-run lead. They had a 5-run lead. They had 2 or 3-run lead. What killed them? The walks. When you start walking people, right, your manager gets a little itchy, right? He starts to not trust you. Then he goes somewhere else to the bullpen. And what happens? The bullpen comes in with runners on. That's always a disaster waiting to happen. Occasionally you get lucky and the bullpen guy does his job. But let's be honest, bullpen guys are not very good with runners on base that they didn't put on. When they come into a game with the ducks on the pond, it's a problem. So 2 days in a row, they limit the walks. Any damage that they gave up was a solo home run, or in a big lead, they gave a 2-run home run today. That's fine. Because you had a big enough lead where I'd rather my pitcher throw strikes with just one guy on, because it doesn't change the complexion of the game. Does it get the Mariners closer? Absolutely. But what it does overall is empties the bases, right? They still got to score 4 more runs just to tie it. So you clear the bases. What you don't want is, 3 or 4 doubles in a row, like the Mariners in game 1. A game, they kept on, they hit like 9 doubles in that game. That's insane. That is insane. And they did their job. And I appreciate the fact that, they buckled down and they did their job, right? They did not make mistakes. These last 2 games, there wasn't major mistakes that cost them. Now that Lindor missed, like soft liner that he missed, that was a mistake, right? It didn't end up costing them, which was a good job by Clay Holmes. Did what he had to do to get out of it, and picked up Lindor's mistake, which was nice to see, right? When a guy makes a mistake, you want your teammates to pick you up. Clay Holmes did that for Francisco Lindor, right? It didn't hurt us. But overall, the last 2 games, they played a clean game. And all of a sudden, the New York Mets are hitting their runners in scoring position, right? They've been pretty damn good. They've been, it's been every game now. They've been, 4 for 8 with runners in scoring position, 5 for 9, 3 for 7, right? They've been around the, basically batting 500 runners in scoring position in that game, right? You do that throughout a game, you're going to win a lot of games. And we should have won more games if it wasn't for the pitching. So it's a nice sign. It's a 2-game winning streak. You got to start somewhere. You get the off day tomorrow. It's nice to have some good vibes. When all the Mets content creators are going to be doing off day shows, probably, it's going to be nice to have a conversation about, hey, they played 2 solid games after the loss in the first game to Seattle. They played solid games. You got solid pitching. You got the bullpen coming in and doing their job, what they're supposed to do, and holding leads. That is something that has been far and few between over the last couple of weeks, and is a great sign going forward. Because, again, enjoy the off day tomorrow, guys, because we are going to go. You want to talk about the dog days of summer? 16 games in a row before our next off day after tomorrow. So what's the plan? What has to happen? Look, things happen within a game that you cannot control, right? You can't control that. Well, here's what we need to see. The starting pitching. I don't care of the name in the pitcher. I don't care. 5 innings or more. That is the key to this 16-game stretch, right? You can't use 4, 5, 6 bullpen arms every single day with no off days. You're going to run out of pitchers. You're going to run out of pitchers. Now, going into the first game of 16 straight games on Tuesday with the off day tomorrow, your pitchers are going to be ready to go. Everybody's going to be available on Tuesday, starting that 16-game stretch. Great. That's what we need to do. But, again, this starts with the starting pitching. It starts with Manaea. Starts with Senga, right? I need Manaea to be the guy we're paying $20 million to, right? Let's be honest, guys. He's the highest pitcher in our rotation. You need to pitch like one. I don't want to hear, and look, he talked about it on the broadcast today. If you were watching ESPN when they spoke to him, what was it? Matt Excursion was like, hey, are you gonna have a bigger games, bigger year? The bigger end, second half, bigger end of the year. And Manaea was caught off guard there. That was a great question. ESPN's broadcast is terrible, but that was a great question by Mark Vescursion. When he asked Manaea, hey, you're gonna have a big second half? He goes, and then Manaea was like, yeah. He goes, no, big. And he went back at Manaea, and I love that. And Manaea was like, yeah. He goes, you know what? I have to. And I like Manaea saying that. Manaea knows he needs to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. You are further enough away from your rehab starts, from your first game back before the All-Star break. You're going on what? 4 or 5 starts, the 5th start now? There is no more, innings limit or pitch count limit. No. Get your ass out there and pitch. You need to be better. You have not been good for us. You are the $20 million man. You are the de facto ace because you're getting paid like a top pitcher in this rotation. You got to start acting like one. The injuries are past you now. I don't want to hear about the injuries. I don't want to hear about pitch counts. I don't want to hear about innings limit. I don't want to hear that nonsense. There's no time for that. You should be the freshest pitcher in this rotation. You've missed nearly 4 months with just rehabs. You don't have a lot of innings under your belt. You should be the freshest starter right now. You should be going the deepest amongst everybody in this rotation at this point. That's a fact, right? There is no more excuses for Sean Manaea. Sorry, right? I'm not the biggest fan of Sean Manaea, but I give him a ton of credit for what he did last year. But you got to step it up. I don't care about the loose bodies in your elbow. Your oblique, we haven't heard a word about. So that's out of the question, right? Pitch better and go deeper into games. You are the freshest arm we got in this rotation. Shit, the freshest arm in this pitching staff we got on this team. You need to go out there and do your job. That's it. There is no more excuses for these guys. So we'll see. Excuse me. Let me get to the comments really quick. Those like, all Stearns has to do is call up McLean and Sproat. Well, he did McLean and Sproat. Well, look, a 16-game stretch, with no off days. Sproat's going to pitch in one of those games, or at least he's going to come up during that stretch. You have to, because you can't give Senga an extra day with no off days in 2.5 weeks. You can't. He's got to pitch every 5th day. They're not doing that. So Sproat's going to come up here and start to give extra days rest to certain starting pitchers, specifically Kodai Senga. So he's going to come up. When is that going to be? I don't know how fast they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to put him in his – I forgot when Sproat pitched. I got to check when he pitched. But, I mean, whenever his next time is up, he should pitch. Bring him up. Why not? And I think they have to during this 16-game stretch just to give Minaya an extra day rest because, God forbid you don't. So when it comes to the Mets, we know the keys to success, right? The offense, continue to do what you're doing. The offense has been pretty damn good, right? They've been scoring on average around the last week to 10 days, around 5.5 runs per game. That is perfectly fine to win you enough games, right? You're not always going to score 6+ runs a game. You're going to have those games like yesterday where you win 3-1. The Mets pitching needs to hold that lead. I'm sorry. You got to lead. If you don't hold that lead, the pitching failed. Let's not blame the offense. Well, the offense should have scored 6 runs then. Come on. We've watched baseball enough to know that's not possible every single day. Like, the pitching's got to be better. And so far, 2 starts in a row, right? You got McLean showing how it's done. Clay Holmes, again, give me the 5 innings, limit the runs, limit the damage, right? 5 hits, 1 walk, very important for Clay Holmes. He didn't walk many guys, which is very important for him, right? He's not a huge strikeout guy, 4 strikeouts, and he gave up 1 earned run. I'll take that performance for the rest of the year. I would. Give me 5 innings, 2 runs or less. I take that every day of the week. I'd run to the market with that. I'd be very happy with that because I'm expecting guys like Sean Manaea to give me 5 or 6 innings. I'm expecting Kodai Senga to give me 5 or 6 innings. Nolan McLean right now, I'm expected to go 5 or 6 innings. Like, those are the guys that I need to be consistently seeing going to 5 or 6 innings. And David Peterson, same thing. Hey, get into that 6th inning, you're golden. Because if you get into the 6th inning, there's a pretty good chance you're pitching pretty well. And you can live with with Clay Holmes pitching 5 innings when you can get maybe 2 guys at least going 6 innings, maybe 3 if it's like a miracle. But you can live with Clay Holmes going 5 innings when Kodai Senga should be going 6 innings, when David Peterson should be going 6 innings, and Nolan McLean shows that he can go 6 innings. He didn't finish it out, but he was on the mound in the 6th inning. That's what counts. So for the overall production of this rotation, they need to go deeper. Again, enjoy this off day tomorrow. We'll have a Mets Talk Live tomorrow, probably around 5 or 6 o'clock. We're going to talk about it, right? We're going to talk about the upcoming schedule. We're going to talk about the dog days of summer. This is a stretch for dog days of summer. Like, this is an everyday ordeal for 2.5 weeks. Every day, no days off. And I'll give you the teams really quick who we're going to be facing. You probably looked at the schedule, but for people who didn't and just want to say, hey, Rob, just let me know. I'll let you know right now. So, obviously, an off day tomorrow on the 18th. We got Washington for 3, Atlanta for 3. That is our road trip from the 19th to the 24th. We come back home to finish up August. We face the Philadelphia Phillies 3 times. Big series. And then we got 4 at home against the Miami Marlins. So we got a 7-game homestand to end the month of August, 3 with Philly, 4 with Miami. And then we hit September. Now we're still talking about this 16-game stretch here. And then we go to Detroit for 3. September 1, 2, and 3. We got an off day. That's the first off day in 16 days. And then we're still on the road. We got to travel. We go to Cincinnati. Probably going to be a big series, considering the fact that right now we're a game and a half up on them. Right now we're 5 behind Philly with 38 games to go. Just look at the numbers, guys. We've got 38 games to go. After this 16 stretch of games, do the math, right? Do the quick math. 22 games left after that. After this 16-game stretch, we got 22 games left. So we got Washington and Atlanta during this next road trip, 6 games. Then we come back home to finish the month of August, Philadelphia and Miami for a 7-game series, for a 7-game homestand. Then we have a 3, 6, 10-game road trip to start September. Detroit, Cincinnati, Philly. And then we come back home for Texas, San Diego, Washington. And then we end the year with the Cubs and Miami. So again, guys, long 2 weeks of games. Long 2 weeks. I mean, it's just a clusterfuck. Let's just be plain about it. It's a clusterfuck of games. Like, that's what it is, right? Washington and Atlanta. I'm sorry. You got to at least win 4 out of 6 in that series. And that should win you 2 series, right? Win 3 series in a row, right? You took the Seattle series, great. Go to Washington, take a series. Go to Atlanta, take a series. Come back home to face Philadelphia, winning 3 series in a row, right? Winning 3 series in a row gets you around what? 7 out of 11, 8 out of 11. Great. That's a good start considering that you lost 14 out of 16. Well, Dolo, we know the Mets are going to play with our emotions. They love doing that. We all know that. And you know what? Look, Lindor's getting hot. Pete Alonso has been good. Soto has been above average for the most part. Nimmo has cooled off a little bit, but still pretty good, right? You got, I mean, we don't know what Alvarez right now, but McNeil has been pretty good. Beatty has been pretty good, right? Cedric Mullins has been better. So the offense is coming around. And when you get your offense coming around a little bit more, and probably more than a little bit more, it's probably above average at this point, things can happen. Better things can happen. Because again, with this offense, we talked about it. All they have to do is be average with runners in scoring position, and it's a huge difference from the majority of the season. When you're bottom third in the league in runners in scoring position, just think, average is middle of the pack. That is about 10 teams that you're not better than, or that you got to get closer to in the middle of the pack in the league. So if you're just an average team of runners in scoring position, it's a hell of a lot better than being a third-tier team, you know, one of the worst teams in runners in scoring position. Just be average. And right now, the Mets have been slightly above average. If they stay right there, they're going to win games, especially if this rotation starts to pick it up a little bit. I'm not asking for the rotation to be dominant. I'm really not. Like, if I'm asking the rotation to be dominant, I got to be a freaking idiot. To be quite honest with you. Give me slightly above average rotation, because that should get you through the remainder of the season and get you into the playoffs, in my opinion. There's no need to demand to be a dominant rotation. I don't expect that to happen. You know, I expect Manaea to be better. I expect Senga to be better. And I expect David Peterson to be better from his last start. And throw Nolan McLean in there. I'm okay with that. Like, be slightly above average. Give me quality starts. I need every one of my pitchers to go 5 innings at the least. Anything less than that is a goddamn failure. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what you're smoking. Seriously, guys. 5 innings or more. That is what we should expect from our starting pitcher. If you can't go 5 innings, you're not a starting pitcher. And you know what? You're a fringe starting pitcher at best. Especially with the extra days off this team has given these goddamn pitchers, especially Kodai Senga. Like, Senga pitched well his last time out, fine. It was good. But man, does he piss me off so freaking much. This guy gets days off more than anybody else in his rotation. This guy should be easily knocking on the door 95 to 100 pitches every game. Every game. There should not be an instance where this guy comes out earlier. Now, again, the Mets do it. So I blame the Mets for this, but I also blame Kodai Senga because he hasn't been good enough, especially coming back from injury. I don't want to hear about the injury anymore. He came back before the All-Star break. It's nearly a month since the All-Star break. There's no more, oh, well, we got to get his pitch count up. We got to get this. No. Your strength is up. Do it, or you're going to get criticized. Do your job. You were supposed to be the top two pitchers along with Sean Manaea. You two got to step up. You know, like, you just got to be better. I think this offense, if they continue to do what they're doing, they're not great. By any means, they're not great. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that. But you know what? Scoring over this last 10 games, they've been averaging around 5.5. And you know what? With this game today, they might have just hit 6 runs per game. But last I checked, it was 5.5. You should be winning those games when you're averaging 5.5 runs per game. That is more than enough to win you ball games. The pitching can't average 6+ runs per game. Because if you do that, you're going to have a hard time winning. Because you got to score 7+ runs a game. That is not sustainable. That is not sustainable. So 2 things going into this off day tomorrow. Number 1, the rotation. There better not be a guy going less than 5 innings. If you do that, guess what? You suck. I don't want to hear it. Like, I don't care the issue. Like, people are going to have bad games. Pitchers are going to have bad games. That's understandable. It happens. Like, if you don't have your stuff, I'd be pissed off that day, but that happens. But don't do it consistently. Like, that has been the problem, right? When Kodai Senga had 3 starts in a row, couldn't get into the 5th inning, that's a problem. Like, you do it once, all right, I'm not going to kill you. You know, I'll kill you that day because it's annoying, but come out the next start and do better than that. That's what's concerning, was that we consistently have been doing short outings. That has been the failure, right? I don't want you to pitch 4 1/3, and then the next game you start, you're going 4 2/3. Like, that's an upgrade, but it's not good. Like, if you pitch 4, like David Peterson, right? Couldn't get out of the 4th inning. I expect his next time out to go 6 innings and probably pitch damn well. Like, I want to see a boost in performance from your last outing, especially if it was bad. That's what I want to see. I don't want consistent starts or bad starts in a row, because that's only going to screw your team. It's going to make it that much harder to win games. And when you got a 16-game stretch with no off days, you need to do your job. There is not one person on this team that can do bad consistently during a 16-game stretch, because there's nowhere to hide. They can't throw you on the bench and not play you. They can't throw you in the back of the bullpen and not pitch you. Everybody's being used. The Ryan Staneks of the world, the guys you don't want to see from the bullpen, the guys you don't want to see on the bench hitting. Tyrone Taylor's going to get some starts. You know why? Because when you play 16 games in a row, you got to give guys days off. I don't care if you're 22 years old or 36 years old. You're going to need a day off. So you're going to see Tyrone Taylor in the lineup. You're going to see somebody who might not be hitting in the lineup. You're going to see Luis Torrens, even if Alvarez is healthy, and we'll find out about his thumb tomorrow, and hopefully it's no broken bone or anything like that, or ligament damage. You're going to see those guys. You can't play Alvarez 16 days in a row. The guy will die as a catcher. He takes a beating back there. Luis Torrens is probably going to get 4, maybe even 5 starts over a 16-game stretch. You got to understand that. Tyrone Taylor, same thing, right? You can't play Nimmo 16 days in a row in left field. The guy is going to just fall on the floor. So he's going to get time off. He's probably going to get an off day. That's just how it goes. And again, the starting pitching, this is the biggest moment for the starting pitching, in my opinion. The 16-game stretch is the biggest the biggest eyes are on the starting pitching in this 16-game stretch. Because if they do what they have been doing over this month of games, not going deep into games, where they've really, really struggled to go deep into games, I don't know how you survive this 16-game stretch. I just don't. I don't know how you do it. So all eyes are on the starting pitching. The offense has picked it up. The bullpen has been not very good, but it's been, I guess, a tad better than the starting pitching. The starting pitching has been the problem. This is where everybody is going to watch. You're gonna hear about Brandon Sproat. I would be shocked if he doesn't come up here soon to pitch sometime during a 16-game stretch. He has to. You're not going to be able to get extra days off to Kodai Senga if you don't do that. It's impossible. We don't have enough pitchers. So bring him up. I'm not sure his next time out. If it's over the next couple of days, I don't care. Throw him in there. His next time throwing should be with the New York Mets. I don't want to hear that he's still in Syracuse pitching another 5-6 innings and give me another goddamn highlight. I don't want that in the minor leagues. His next start should be with the New York Mets. If that's Washington, if that's Atlanta, he should be pitching in one of those games. Whenever his next start is, he should be pitching for the New York Mets. So the Mets are 66-58. They remain 5 games behind the Phillies. They remained their 1.5-game lead in the third wild card against the Cincinnati Reds. And they took 2 out of 3 against the Seattle Mariners, basically their first series win in a month. That's nice. You get a little bit of a happier bunch of Met fans for the off day tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow, guys, on a Mets Talk Live. Time to be determined. 5 or 6 o'clock, most likely. And we'll talk more about it. We'll talk about the division. We'll talk about the wild card. We'll talk about the 16-game stretch. We'll break it down. We'll obviously preview the Washington series coming up on Tuesday. And we'll talk a lot more Mets stuff throughout the show. So with that said, guys, thank you for tuning in to the Mets post-game show right here on the channel and on X. Hit that like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you tomorrow for a Mets Talk Live right here on the channel and on X, guys. Have a great night, and let's go Mets.
And cribs with a dream, go die, skyline kissing the skies. With 25 calling our time, freshness, they gon' shine. Silver splashing bombs, out of orbit they fly. Lingo steady cooking king, and shortstop guy. Orange and blue, rep true, yeah we here fight. Mets taking crowns in the city, feel lights. Queens in the house, loud and clear, no fear. 2025's the